Sorry I'm late. 5:15. 5:15 Eastern Daylight Time. It's a little bit late for a live stream. I apologize, Michaela, in advance. I know you don't like staying up so late. And to Scotland as well, it's not early for you guys. To the West Coast, you still like just came back from lunch and going to work, things like that. But I'm here and back, second day in a row. It's Chris Sandeman with a live stream from the Big Apple, New York City. And we're down here downtown. Look, you know, I had said that I was going to do a live stream of restaurant cabins, booths on the street today. I decided that although that sounded like, hey, Bastille Day, it's the July 1st or July 4th of France, right? I mean, this is like revolution starts here. Not here in New York, but for France, of course, on Bastille Day. Oh, how about this? Look at this beautiful sun shower which took place. I'm kind of protected. I don't know if you can see it, but it is raining. Can't really see it so well, I guess. Hey, Tage, brother. Hey, you can kind of see it now, huh? Can you see that rain coming down? Oh yeah, now you can really see the rain. But amazingly, where I am standing, it's not raining. How is that possible? It's the miracle of modern science. Look at this dry foot. Super dry. Oh, now it's raining where I'm standing too. Sorry about the flashing around. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of a live stream, like I said. Oh, really, Tage? Your screen is black or blank? Try reloading, because I'm definitely showing that I'm live streaming right now. Tage, thanks again for helping me out with technical stuff over on FB. Very useful, very helpful. But if you're seeing a black screen, then that's no good. Well, gosh, I don't know what to do. Anyway, I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and then we're gonna go from there. So, guys, thanks so much for watching, whether you join me live or whether you watch this video later on. Because it's Bastille Day, I decided that rather than going to the Bastille Day block party, which welcomes the 60,000 plus French people who live in New York City, it's a lot, to celebrate their national holiday, and everyone else who's a Francophile to join in as well. The reason why I decided not to join that is because it's not happening this year. It didn't happen last year either. It happened the year before that because it was before the pandemic. This year they're going to do a jazz celebration and concert up in Central Park, and that is awesome, except it doesn't take place until like 6:30 till 9 o'clock, which is way too late. So I figured that we would walk around a little bit and walk along Lafayette Street, which is named after the Marquis De Lafayette, who was a Frenchman, yet also American Revolutionary War hero. Probably the most famous French guy in the US until Jacques Cousteau showed up. Well, let me ask myself, Napoleon maybe? Could be. Napoleon probably had more name recognition. But nonetheless, Lafayette. And we're gonna walk up Lafayette Street from the Collect Pond, where I'm standing in front of right now, up to Astor Place. Because we talked a little bit about John Jacob Astor, you know, the scone of the family, and that old beaver trader and land mogul. And we're gonna head up there and walk along Lafayette Street as we go. I am kind of stalling for time because it's still raining. Even though crazily blue skies, I'm still getting wet right now. So a little sun shower, nothing wrong with that. Where are we standing right now? Well, let's just tell you the circle of history around us, and then I'll go to the Collect Pond. We'll talk about that specifically. We've seen this before, guys. We're looking down towards the government district of New York City. Hi, Rebecca Stewart. What's going on, Atlanta? How you doing, lady? How you doing? What's up, Joe? Hope you're keeping cool, whether you're in the Northwest or in Arizona. It's just hot, 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 huh? But either way, I hope you're staying cool. So what we're looking at over here, we've seen it before. It's the municipal building over there with that kind of golden structure up on the top. Boom. Right? So we know City Hall is kind of like over this way right now, but we can't see it. What we have here is the federal U.S. courthouse, and in line with the kind of like courthousey sort of stuff, we also have the state of New York courthouse, and then looking up here we have the detention center. Oh, Jill, you're in Washington State. I'm glad to hear that it's cooled off a bit there, although it still sounds crazy hot. The fire in Oregon is scary. And this massive building here, like I said, is a lot of things in here, but primarily it's a criminal detention center. So like a prison, as well as the district attorney's office is in there. Criminal court building, all that jazz. But what I wanted to show you guys is over here, because this is Collect Pond Park, and it's pretty much where the Collect Pond used to be. The Collect Pond in the 1700s was fresh, clean drinking water for this burgeoning city of New York. And you could come, I mean, this was not the Collect Pond, it was much larger. This is a park now in the space where the Collect Pond was. You'd come here and you'd picnic and drink fresh, clean water. And that was the case until New York starts to grow. And through the 1800s, as New York's increasing in size, the Collect Pond becomes basically like, instead of this pristine, beautiful water that you could like drink from and picnic alongside, becomes like a stinking cesspool, a sewer. And we talked a little bit about the Croton Aqueduct yesterday, and the Croton River Dam, and therefore the aqueduct slowly 41 miles away, bringing water down from the Croton River all the way down by gravity at a super slow, like 1.9 miles an hour pace, heading down all the way until finally making it to Central Park, which was not yet Central Park, where you had a receiving reservoir where the water would gather, and then eventually also be sent down to a distributing reservoir, which was where Bryant Park is today, or Reservoir Park, as they called it back in the time. Hey Ross, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Ross saying hi over on Facebook from Scotland. So New York Public Library, main branch where we were yesterday, that's built where that old Croton receiving reservoir, Croton distributing reservoir was. Big old Egyptian fortress kind of thing. People would walk along top of the promenade and see for miles. That's gone. But the reason why that was all built was because what used to be here, Collect Pond, because it was a poop hole. It was a poop water. It wasn't good, no bueno. So couldn't drink this any longer. And eventually they actually build Canal Street. You heard of Canal Street before? They build Canal Street to help us empty out the Collect Pond. Yeah, 40 feet across, open up the trough and let the water, the stinking sewage waste smelling stuff, all flow out and head away. They drain Collect Pond, and in its place, they fill it up with dirt from a neighboring hill. And that dirt levels it out, and on it, they build a bunch of housing, because New York's expanding and growing, and you need houses, right? So they build all this housing, and they call it Paradise Square. And that's the idea. It's going to be this beautiful future place for people to live. The problem was that the ground underneath, it was still like the collect pond dirt and mud, and there was no, Manhattan schist down there, schist down there to hold up the buildings. So the buildings start to sink. They start to, founder and dip on corners, and it's not a nice place to live, not just because your buildings were falling, but also because it smelled terrible. There's some foul, terrible odor left over from all the butchering and sewage and underground waste or whatever was in there in the old Collect Pond area. So people that have money leave. But we're through the middle of the 1800s, right? And what's going on then? New York's growing massively in population, just Italians alone, right? In 1850, you had less than 1,000 Italians living in New York, 833 Italians, Italian-born Italians who were living here now. By 1920, more than 4 million Italians had come to the US, mostly through New York, and most of them were men, because they were, unlike the Irish immigrants who were coming at the end of the 1800s, bringing their whole families, right? Those Irish guys, the whole clan would kind of come over, whereas the Italians, they sent the man and they said, hey, listen, you're going to go work and you're going to come back with the money. And that was the goal, that was the plan. And many of them ended up bringing their families over instead, but they end up congregating largely around this Paradise Square, this area back here, which would be known better by Leonardo DiCaprio as the 5 Points, right? Yes, Daniel Day-Lewis and Gangs of New York, that's over there. And it wasn't just Irish, it was all the immigrants that would end up there because it was cheap housing. Anyway, that's why we're starting down to Collect Pond. Now kind of ties in a little bit from yesterday, and we're heading up Lafayette Street now. Yes, we're gonna head up Lafayette, and we're gonna make our way up to Astor Place. We'll see how far we get, we'll see how we're doing for time, see how you guys are doing for your patience and your enjoyment, and we'll make it happen. This is a really cool building here. Today it's like the downtown, TV station, like local broadcasting. If you're a local person that lives here, you can go in here and learn how to use TV stuff. But where it's actually what it was before that, up until 1972, you could probably guess it was a firehouse. It was a fire station, 2nd Battalion, 31st Engine Company. And they were based in here until the early 70s. They ended up leaving. But before those guys were here, what you had was this building built in 1895, actually, by Napoleon Lebrun and Sons. And the style is a chateau from the Loire Valley in France, kind of giving you that 16th century feel and look. Well, it should, because this all ties into, once again, Bastille Day, which is today, and the street that we're walking on, Lafayette Street. Now, if you want to call Lafayette by his proper name, he was Marie-Joseph Paul Yves Roch Gilbert de Motier. But I don't know. That seems like a lot for Lin-Manuel Miranda to fit into Hamilton. So they just called him Lafayette instead. And he was a legitimate hero here in the US. He had helped convince his buddy Rochambeau, I believe, in France to, along with King Louis XVI, of course, to send troops and help support the American Revolution. Was it to help support the American Revolution, or was it really just to thumb it to the Brits? Right, Scotland, the old alliance. That's what we always used to say on tours in Edinburgh. The old alliance between Scotland and France, the oldest long-standing, still existing alliance that we know of, or I know of, is based on a common dislike for the British, or English, excuse me. Of course, I don't know if Scotland would even consider themselves British, but it's part of Great Britain. Ross, you let me know. Do you consider yourself British or Scottish? I'm going to say Scottish, but I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I'm pointing over at this building over here really quick, because even though I don't know the history of this building, it's a great example of something we were talking about yesterday over in Bryant Park when we were talking about the Crystal Palace. And what you can see here on the outside, right, all these columns and, you know, this kind of window action. This is a great example of one of the many buildings around here that we're going to see, which are cast iron facades. You could cast iron your thanks, Ross. Good. All right, Scottish 100%. That's what I figured. These cast iron facades meant that you could very easily construct a building. In fact, you look at a catalog and you'd say, hey guys, what type of building do we want? Should we pick this one or this one or this one? And then you buy your cast iron building. And that worked really well in a lot of New York. Didn't work so well up at the Crystal Palace, as we learned, which unfortunately, once they first saw smoke, it only took 15 or 13 minutes, 11 to 13 minutes, was it 11 or 13? Anyway, it was less than 15 minutes for the building cupola, the dome in the building, to fall down and collapse. Within 30 minutes, the entire building, 25 minutes later, the entire building had actually collapsed, and proving that it was not actually fireproof. A lot of these cast iron buildings, the idea was that they were fireproof, right? That's why you wanted iron instead of wood. I'm looking over in this direction right now because I'm showing you guys as we cross over Canal Street, showing you the heart of Chinatown and also the heart of New York traffic right now. So Canal Street, which we just learned a second ago, used to drain the Collects Pond once it had gotten nice and dirty and gross. So back to walking up Lafayette Street, the good old Marquis De Lafayette. Now, you know, turns out he wasn't just heavily involved in the US Revolution, right? I mean, he kind of gets his teeth cut on the American Revolution. Super important during the Battle of Yorktown in 1781. It was the last serious major, it was the decisive battle ending the war. Although the war wouldn't really end for another 2 years because we had to negotiate after that for a little while. And yeah, you know, kings are slow in decision making, I guess. So it took a little while, and it wouldn't have been until November of 1783, a full 2 years after the Battle of Yorktown, that finally you would have had the last Brit leaving the New World, leaving, you know, the colonies, leaving these new independent states, this new America, in fact. And they called that Evacuation Day. It was the most celebrated holiday in the United States, other than maybe New Year's Eve, all the way until we had the Civil War. And then we changed Evacuation Day to Thanksgiving to make it less political, to keep the Brits from entering into the war on the side of the South, of the Confederacy, desperate for that cotton money to keep on flowing. This is kind of interesting, really quick, just to interrupt myself. This is the Museum of Chinese in America, also called MoCA. Now, ironically, if you were to ask me what the MoCA Museum is, I might say the Museum of Contemporary Art. Museum of Contemporary Art, not of Chinese in America. But I wonder if they're rigging the Google search engine stuff right there. We're MoCA. People are showing up being like, "Is this contemporary art?" Like, no, it's Chinese in America. Okay, interesting. Right. So, we are going to end up seeing a couple of sidewalk places as we go. They're still going to be around. This one's abandoned, as you can see, having something to do with this bar, I believe, which says Happy Sunday through Thursday. good news. Looks like they have cheap drinks here. So, who knows? Maybe later, guys. Maybe later. Right, so where were we? We were talking about Evacuation Day. We were talking about Battle of Yorktown. Oh, this is pretty cool. Take a look over here. This is not the direction that we're going, but you can, well, it's worth just pointing it out real quick. It's a cool Beaux-Arts style building with a nice rotunda and a clock tower. Why wouldn't we show you? I gotta head north up Lafayette Street, guys, but this building over here is the old New York Police Department headquarters. Pretty cool, huh? It actually kind of makes me like think of like London a lot. I really feel like this would be like a British police headquarters, but no, it's the old New York police headquarters there for you guys. Beaux-Arts style, remember? We were talking about Beaux-Arts. Frill. We still want flow and form, but you want all those frill, right? Don't take off a piece of jewelry, put on 7 more pieces of jewelry before you head out of the house. That's our Beaux-Arts style of architecture, which we can thank the École des Beaux-Arts. Oh, the French again, Bastille Day. Here we go. We can't get away from it. Cannot escape from it. Much like Lafayette Street, which is back over here. We need to continue walking up. So, Marquis de Lafayette, Battle of Yorktown. Who else was there? Washington was there. Knox was there. I think Putnam was not there, but could have been. Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton was there. But most importantly, Cornwallis was there. British peer and Lieutenant General, I believe, Cornwallis. And he's defeated. Over 7,000 of his troops are captured, and he surrenders. That's effectively going to be the end of the war. And after this, our good buddy, the Marquis de Lafayette, he returns to France. And why does he go back to France? Because there is about to be a revolution. Now, he doesn't know that yet. He's still working with the king. But, he returns, and in 1786, December 29th, King Louis the 16th calls for an assembly of notables in response to a serious fiscal crisis which is taking place. Again, for those of you who are tuning in, we're walking up Lafayette Street right now in New York City on Bastille Day, and we are talking right now about none other than the Marquis de Lafayette, American Revolutionary War hero, who also plays a serious role in Bastille Day and ultimately, setting up the French Revolution here. It's a great little restaurant here if you're ever in town, guys, or market, let's say, called d'Espagne. Really great chorizo sandwiches. Very delicious. Let's do a quick look around here. Alba! Oh, greetings to you in Spain. I know you have to go to bed because it's late, but where in Spain are you again? Are you in Barcelona right now? If you are, I really hope that you'll join us on a tour or visit. We are open in Barcelona, Madrid, and Seville, but I believe in Sevilla we are only open on the weekends right now. We're going to take a quick pause on Barcelona. Oh, wonderful, Alba. One of my good buddies, David Mateo, lives in Barcelona, and I used to live myself near the Estación de Francia on Carrer Duana, Tax Street, between Barceloneta and Born. Beautiful. Oh gosh, jealous. Have a wonderful night, sleep well, and see you again very soon. So here we are walking up right now on Lieutenant Petrosino Square. Yes, fast car, big private parts. But before we walk over into Lieutenant Petrosino Square, just to show you guys really quick, La Esquina, the corner. which is a great little taco place, great little taco stand here. Although, you know, it's New York prices, so like you're not going to get a deal on your tacos, of course. But the other thing that's kind of cool about this space is that inside this door, there's another door. And behind that door, the door that if I zoom in on, that looks like a door, where that B is right back there, that's another door. That door goes downstairs. And if you go down those stairs, you go into a kitchen. And if you go into that kitchen and you walk past the kitchen, there's a hostess. And that's where the real restaurant is. This entire upstairs outside restaurant is just a front for the speakeasy, real, like, upscale restaurant, which is down those stairs. Welcome to New York, you know? So if you're not content paying $4 to $5 a taco, you go downstairs. You can pay like $10 a taco, you know? But think about the love that would go into that taco. Right. Oh, look, there's even a picture here of this guy. When I was doing my brief research, I did not get to see this little picture of good old Lieutenant Joseph Petrosino. His original name was not Joseph. You'll never guess. It was Giuseppe. And Giuseppe changed his name to Joseph because, like, he was an American cop here. And he was fighting the Black Hand, the Mano Negra. And those guys were organized crime, mafia. Said to be from Sicily, although many Sicilians would dispute that. Maybe it was like racist against Sicilians, who were definitely getting crapped on by everyone from northern Italy. Actually, you know, a lot of the reason why you have so many Italians moving to New York to begin with is because in 1871, Italy unites as one big country. And before that, Italy, a lot like Germany, which, by the way, guys, also united in 1871 to make the first, like, united Germany. Well, Germany and Italy were all these different kingdom states, these princedoms, these fiefdoms, and all these little small things. And in 1871, they unite, and new laws are passed, and those new laws are not favorable if you're from, like Calabria or from Sicily. If you're from the south, sorry, it's looking at me, guys. I apologize. If you're in the south, then you're just not getting the love that you want to get, and many of those people then end up leaving and moving to the 5 Points area, Paradise Square that we were just at. And of course, all the problems from other countries will follow people to this place, which also had tons of its own problems. This square is named after this crime-fighting cop who actually headed to Palermo via Rome in the 49th year of his life. And he was trying to collect dirt on like mobsters who were already back in the States, because the US had just passed a law in like 1906, 1905, saying that if you could prove that someone who'd been an immigrant to the US for under 3 years had some criminal, you know, stuff on them that they hadn't told anyone about as they kind of immigrated to the US, you could still kick them out of the country. So he was trying to just like get a lot of criminals deported. Goes to Rome, like on a secret mission, turns out not so secret. They knew he was coming. The American ambassador was already like, "Lieutenant, you better not come, man. They're looking for you." Actually, the quote was, "If you arrive in Italy, at least 1,000 criminals, I suspect, will recognize you." Well, there you go, old-timey talk. And he came anyway. And in Palermo, he was invited to get a secret handoff of information so he could, you know, get that dirt that he was looking for. And unfortunately, instead of the dirt, he got 2 bullets to the face when he went to the square for the meet. Yeah, a local Italian sailor ran to his aid. He fired off a shot in the distance as the culprits who had shot him in the face were escaping. But he was so blinded by blood in his eyes, he could not shoot straight, and he dies in Italy, the country of his birthplace. But he is returned and buried here in the US. So, right, that was that square back there. Anyway, we're still moving up the street. We're heading up Lafayette. I'm 30 minutes in. I got another 15 to 30 minutes for you guys as we continue to celebrate Bastille Day a little bit. We've got some more Lafayette for you. So Lafayette, he's a nobleman. He's a Marquis de Lafayette. I think so they call him, or a Graf. Actually, I'm not exactly sure what a Marquis equaled to in like the British or German system is. This guy is about to... What's he doing? Ah, that's a saw. He's got a saw there. It's like a lifesaver saw to chop into vehicles that have been in an accident. Oh, we've got a little outdoor space here, which is one that I wanted to show you guys, which is worth showing you, and cross over the street and not get run over real fast. Because ostensibly, even as we're walking down Lafayette Street, even if we're talking about Bastille Day, I also want to show you some of the cool things around here. And what a neat wallpaper these guys have. Window's a little bit dirty, so it's hard to show it to you all, but lots of stuffed animals and cool glasses. This is a lovely little restaurant, Saint Ambrose. And I used to have a friend that lived right upstairs from this place. Aaron Panini lived right around here. But now you got a little Space Invader tiling right there, which is kind of neat too. Okay, but what I wanted to show you as we're walking along is the cabinet. So this is one of the cool things that's happened in New York now. The governor has just approved that these kinds of street structures are going to be here for another whole year, which is, I thought the pandemic is gone. I thought we're past it. Well, maybe we're not. Maybe we've got more pandemic to come this winter, and therefore we might as well keep these cool little spaces still here. And you can see it's semi-permanent wood, but also just kind of like a light. It's not tin. It's some sort of plastic material covered with looks like tin to be able to make it cooler inside. And then the windows here open and close, and there's electricity throughout it. So here is one of our first cool sidewalk places. Great spot here for lunches, dinners, nice cafes, desserts, all that kind of wonderfulness. Ooh, after you, please. She gave me like a pfft, pfft. Yeah, fair enough. Right, so, Marquis de Lafayette. The king says to him, I'm going to have you be one of the 3 estates that we need to have come together for, a big conversation. And these 3 estates are represented by the clergy, they're represented by the nobles, and finally they're represented by the common people, right? And like the common people definitely outnumber, of course, the rest of the people that are involved in the clergy or the nobles, but often instead of voting by sort of like the total number of people, they vote by, your group instead, which means that the clergy and the noblemen could usually gang up on the common man, and their voice would not be heard. And you got to remember that in France this time, in the 1780s, late 1780s, you've got this fiscal crisis, you've got people that are starving, you've got like moms marching their way to Versailles to demand bread, and what's the response they get? If they have no bread, then let them eat cake. Not exactly, not exactly here in the room, a little tone deaf, and it's the Marquis de Lafayette who is instigating and pushing for other people who are part of his estate, the noble estate. Hey, Jenny Jean, thank you for the Purple Heart. Much appreciate it. It's Marquis de Lafayette who is pushing for these very enlightened ideas and principles and saying, come on, other noblemen, let's side with the common people. You know, let's give a voice to the masses. I just came from this Revolutionary War thing. It's a good idea. We should do this. We should let every white man have a say. Anyway, 1700s, a long time ago still, right? Still got to catch up. And he's ostracized for doing this, for being someone who's pushing for it. The other nobles, they're not on the Marquis de Lafayette side. Luckily, the clergy sides with the common people, the big estate, the grand estate, and they move to have, to move to take control and to have their general assembly. The nobles and the loyalists do not like this, and they lock them out of the building, leading to them actually coming together on a tennis court and taking the oath to change things. So this is all kind of precipitating. Really quick, we'll take a quick break in this longer Bastille Day story, just to show you a really cool building here. This is the Puck House, the Puck Building, excuse me. And the Puck Building is a great example of a German style of architecture called, it's like Grundstil. Anyway, it's the basic concept is like neoclassicalism, hence why you have these columns, which are representative of neoclassical architecture. You have symmetry and conformity up and down the building. But the Germans of the late 1800s were trying to also say, look, we're an industrializing country, and we need a style of architecture that takes into account the fact that we are one of the first great industrializing nations. And so this is where this kind of style of architecture comes from. Neoclassicalism with an industrial-esque style as well to it. So actually, ironically, a lot of synagogues in Germany and some in the US are still, use this style. But why is it called the Puck House? Because Midsummer Night's Dream here, folks, you've got a little puck right here. And you've got a little golden puck here, and you got another little golden puck around the other side of the building. We'll go take a look at him as well and see it. Actually, this side of the building, Lafayette Street side, which we're on right now, this whole side of the building was moved over because the street was widened here. What used to be Elm Street becomes Lafayette Street, and when they move the street and they widen the street, they got to move the whole building back a little bit. Hey, Lene. Oh, sorry for being on so late, but greetings to Denmark. Thanks for stopping in. I knew it was late for you guys in Europe. I apologize. I tried to get going earlier. I couldn't pull it off. I had to do a bunch of research for this because I had to change some things around. And I can only get so much knowledge in the brain if I don't have it already, so I got to keep working it. But tomorrow, thank you. Tak, tak, tak. Till then, tomorrow. Hasta mañana. Here's our other puck. What fools these mortals be, is what Puck has written there on the side of his portfolio. And kind of neat, this one. Oops, there we go. I zoomed in a little too much. This particular Puck also has the mirror in his hand. Ooh, trying to walk into the street backwards while also focusing on a statue above me. There you go. And not get run over. Tricksy. I'm in the road, but no one's gonna hit me. Not here. Anyway, you get another good view of the building. You see how massive it is. And this is down Mulberry Street here. We are at the very, very edge of what we will call Nolita. That's right, Nolita. No, north, li, little, Ita, Italy. North of Little Italy, Nolita. And this is the edge and end of Nolita, because now we are going to cross into NoHo, because NoHo is north of Houston, and we are crossing over Houston Street. Hey, Carmina. Hello to Argentina. Thank you for joining. Thanks for being here. And my heart goes out to Argentinians, all of you guys. Gosh, as if Argentina needed another problem, COVID. You know, as if Argentina wasn't already struggling and suffering enough. Gabo Candal, my buddy in Buenos Aires, if you're ever seeing this or watching, I think of you often, as well as all of your countrymen and women, and I wish you guys all the best right now. Sending you thoughts and prayers. Okay. So, for those folks who are joining in right now and are coming to say hi, we are walking along Lafayette Street, heading north on Lafayette, making our way up towards Astor Place, and talking about some of the buildings and the history as we go. Guys, the long story short on the Marquis de Lafayette is that on Bastille Day, he was there. He was part of the revolutionaries who are instigating for change, who are looking to give a voice to the people, and ultimately will storm the Bastille, which was like a fortress-like prison in the center of Paris, or in Paris proper. And inside of it, the people who would be imprisoned there were people that had been charged with hold on a second. Let me look at my notes really quick for the exact name of what they called it. There was a word for it. Yes, lettre de cachet. Lettre de cachet. It's terrible pronunciation. Anna Marie, if you're there, help me out with some better French. But basically means they're signet letters is the translation I have, and they're just like every and any arbitrary royal indictment or decree that couldn't be appealed because it came from the king, and not only that, it wouldn't even tell you why you were being imprisoned, right? So you wouldn't even know why it was you were getting dusted. You just simply were taken into custody, and that's no bueno. Oh no, missed a building I wanted to tell you guys about, but only just realized, oh no, it's up ahead, never mind. You didn't hear me say I missed a building because I didn't miss it. It's still coming. This is just a cool little set here of outdoor cafe. You've got this neat old theater here, the Jean Frankel Theater. These neat like shapes on the outside, and there's a great little restaurant here called Smile, or The Smile, and it's a good example of sidewalk dining cabins. So we'll interrupt these folks as they're eating. Yum. Smile's a great restaurant. Really like it, although they're eating octopus. And let me just say right now, if you can choose not to eat octopus for a little while, folks, octopi are super smart. I know they might be delicious. I know they might only live for 1 year. But guys, they see like us human beings. An octopus eyeball, right? Their eyeball sees out of the water like our eyeball sees in the water, meaning that when they're in the water, they see like we see when we're not in the water. Closely related eyeballs to us, and super smart. If you haven't watched my octopus teacher and you're still eating octopus, go and watch my octopus teacher. Stop eating octopus, okay? They're too smart for that. Probably shouldn't eat pigs either, huh? Two very smart animals as well. Okay. And we're back. Walking up Lafayette Street in honor of Bastille Day. So what ends up happening, you've got all of these people of the city of Paris who are super enraged and upset, mostly because the finance minister, Jacques Necker, has been sacked. He's been fired. And he was really sympathetic to the third estate. Not the first or second, not the clergy or the noble, but the third estate, the commons, the commoners, the regular people. And he was with them, as was, of course, our good buddy, the Marquis, our good friend, and our good friend Marie-Joseph Paul Yves Roche-Gilbert de Motier. And he, the Marquis de Lafayette had written a letter to try to convince people to get on the side of the third estate, which Thomas Jefferson, that's right, Thomas Jefferson had helped him write, or had at least collaborated on. I wanted to show you guys this building across the street really quick because it's another great, cool building. It's the old, it's a Schermerhorn. It's where the old Schermerhorn mansion once was. But as change, takes place in New York so rapidly, as this area became less and less glamorous, a place to be able to live in, the Schermerhorns move uptown. And where their old mansion is, they build this mercantile and manufacturing building. But it also gives you a show of this kind of early City Beautiful movement. The idea that just because you're going to build a manufacturing plant here, a mercantile building, doesn't mean that it has to be ugly. It can still be beautiful. The name of the restaurant over there, Le Restaurant over there, is Lafayette. A great restaurant where BP, if you're watching, shout out to BP, Brian Patrick. Once he and I had a wonderful dinner there back in the day. Anyway, continuing on up Lafayette Street. So what happens at the Bastille? 200 of the protesters, the insurrectionists, the revolutionaries, the freedom fighters, whatever you want to call them, 200 of them are killed. And only one defender of the building, of this fortress prison place, is killed. And what turns the tide are a bunch of French soldiers who basically mutiny and say, or if that's the word, no, mutiny's only on a boat, right? But French soldiers who come in and say, yeah, we're going to join the side of the revolutionaries. We too are revolutionaries. It's during this time that the Marquis de Lafayette also invents the French tricolor, the red and the blue for the city of Paris and the white for the nation of France, all come together to make that red, white, and blue French flag that we know also. So, I mean, look, Marquis de Lafayette, guys, he didn't just give us the Battle of Yorktown. He didn't just give us the start to Bastille Day and the French Revolution. He also gave us a flag, a French flag. The guy is a superhero. And if you haven't forgotten yet, we're walking down Lafayette Street right now, named after him as well, which is pretty cool. We're going to stay on the side of the street. Change my mind. Okay, so we saw an cast iron building already. There's another one that I was thinking about showing. But we're going to keep on going this way right now.
That's good, yeah.
And we're coming up on a really cool old building, which used to be the main place to live in New York City back in the day. Back when this was, once again, pre-Schermerhorns moving and leaving. This was an area that you'd want to be in. And it was called Colonnade Row. See if I can't zoom in a little bit for us. There we go, Colonnade Row. This looks older than the rest of the buildings around it, doesn't it? It's because it is. Zoom out a little bit. Better. Okay, so this is actually only 4 houses still of what used to be a total of 9 houses. And they were named La Grange Terrasse after none other than the country seat, the place that the Marquis de Lafayette represented. It was like his home county, if you will. It was built in 1831 by a gentleman by the name of Seth gear. And it was, at the time, the finest place to live in New York City, actually, back in the early 1830s. Now, we've lost a lot of the other building that was here. They tore it down. They ended up building a warehouse at one point over here, which was from a different company, not the Amalgamated Life Insurance Company. And then on this side, you had new buildings coming in. Kind of cool, we can see up there to the top. It's always nice to notice this, guys, in New York, showing you the age of some of the old buildings when you have these old wooden water towers up at the top. It used to be an ordinance requiring you to have that. So that way, if the building caught on fire, eventually, well, you know, you hope that that wooden contraption up there comes apart, or they're able to pull it and have water then push pressure through the rest of the building to turn the fire out. But back to the colonnade here, Le Grange Terrace, these 4 apartments or houses that are left of the 9. It's what this street used to look like here. And also giving, of course, a taste of the Frenchness that we're trying to exhibit right now on Bastille Day, without having to go to the party up at Central Park. But there's another building over here that I want to show you guys, because this ties in as well with what we were talking about yesterday. This is none other than John Jacob Astor's original library. That's it. This is where it was. This is the building. And it was only in use for a really short amount of time before they end up like getting rid of it. By 1881, they complete the building. Started in 1849, finished in 1881, but we've got the New York Public Library main branch up by Bryant Park, already done by 1911. And it took them like 10 years to build that, right? So 1901. So really, this building was only in use for about 20 to 30 years before they said we can't use this as a library anymore. But this was the first main big library, the first main commonly accessible library of New York City. The other one being the Lennox Library, but that was again like a collection of antiquities and strange books and, you know, Gutenberg Bibles and like globes from 1503, second oldest globe in the world that's still in existence is at the New York Public Library, part of that Lennox collection. So anyway, this was the collection for academics and other folks, the Astor Library. Gloria is asking, there are not that many people on the streets. Is that normally like this? And you know, Gloria, thanks for asking. Thanks for participating. Always glad to get questions. And yeah, it's a lot quieter than it would usually be because one, you got a lot of people that are working from home still, and offices are only just starting to sort of come back and reopen. The second thing is that tourism has not yet picked up truly in New York. We're still struggling for that to take place, or else, you know, I love you guys, but I would love to be doing a tour of you with you in front of me, you know, so please come to New York as soon as you can. I'd rather be with you than just connected virtually, you know, even if it's live, even though we're here doing this together right now, wherever you are in the world, it's still nice to do it in person. Gloria, the third reason why there aren't that many people is that it's like mid 80s here right now. So help me, like high 20s, low 30s in Celsius. It's hot, it's humid. People are sweating, people are a little bit uncomfortable. And without as many travelers visiting New York right now, without the offices being open, and with the heat of the day, it's not super busy. But if you were to go up to Times Square right now, it'd be packed. Well, speaking of squares, we're not in a square, we're in a place, we're at Astor Place. And it's worth taking a look really quick around us. Over there we got Cooper Union, the university that was free from its inception until like 5-10 years ago, if you were to come and study maths and sciences. by a wonderful benefactor. I want to say Henry Cooper? That might not have been his first name. And the East Village is all down in that direction. That's where I'm going to be heading in a second. And then over here we have the spinning square. The spinning square. Let's see if anyone knows. Does anyone know the name of this spinning cube? Anyone know the name of the cube? Ah, wow.
Are you having a YouTube?
I would never. I am doing a little YouTube right now. I would never have guessed it, but this gentleman right here just crushed it. Although he might be connected to the area, but he knows for a fact it's called the Alamo.
Yeah, it's up there.
And it says right there. Yeah, there's a little plaque there.
And everything.
That's it. And does it say why they named it the Alamo? Let's see. It's interesting.
An anonymous gift to the city of New York.
Right. Okay. Well, the reason why I've read that it's called the Alamo is that the artist, when the artist had completed the work, thought that it looked like that same kind of massiveness and structure somehow as the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas. I don't see it, but that was the idea. So anyway, you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too.
Yeah, thanks. Ross, great question regarding New York and the mayoral race. I'm a like very dedicated voter, but unfortunately, the election took place during my road trip out west. So I couldn't early vote because the early voting didn't open until after I was already gone. And the election had taken place the day before I got back. So it was a heartbreaker for me because in order for me to have gotten a proper mail-in ballot, I needed to register that ahead of time. I just didn't realize I was going to be gone during the election. And I could have done like a provisional, but those never get counted. Like honestly, like I don't think they do. It was the first time that New York was having ranked choice voting, which is a great thing, meaning that if you don't have ranked choice voting where you guys are from, basically what happens is that you vote for not just one candidate, but you vote for your top favorites, your top 3 or maybe your top 5, depending upon how many ranked choice votes you get to have. And if your candidate gets eliminated in the first round of counting because they don't make it into the top few places, then your second choice gets your vote. Your third choice, your next non-eliminated candidate gets your vote. So you still get some representation. You can say, I want this guy number 1, but I'd like this lady number 2, or this lady number 3. I want this lady number 1, this guy number 2, this guy number 3, this lady number 4. Anyway, the point being that it was our first experiment with it, and it seemed to have gone well. None of the candidates were that enthusiastically supported. And the job of mayor of New York is not an easy one, I think. It's a very hard job. It helps to be a billionaire to manage New York, I think. Bloomberg did a great job, but if he'd been broke, I don't know if he would have done such a good job. So, well guys, look, we've gone 58 minutes. I've got 1.5 to go. We made it up to Astor Place. We saw a lot of New York. We talked about Lafayette. We were able to celebrate a little bit the events of Bastille Day which took place back in the days. There it is. It's reversed and backwards, so it's hard. We got our wave in just now from a beautiful person, so like we can't argue any of that. We've got to be really happy about our day. I was talking about the Battle of Yorktown before with you guys, and how the Marquis de Lafayette helps the American revolutionaries win that Battle of Yorktown. Well, I'm so inspired by that. This weekend, I'm going to Virginia, and I'm going to go to Colonial Williamsburg to go talk about that. I'm going to go to Norfolk, Chesapeake, and we're going to see the waters along there. And I'm going to go to Yorktown, where the Revolutionary History Museum is. So that's all coming up this weekend. Yeah, we're going to Virginia. The main reason is that my cousin is a serviceman in the Navy. And congratulations to Chris Musha, my cousin, who just achieved his E6. So he is now a petty officer first class. And his next stop is chief. So congratulations, Chris Musha. Thank you for your service. And I'm looking forward to buying you dinner and more than one beer this weekend in Virginia as we head up as well to Colonial Williamsburg and explore some new things. Tomorrow, I am heading up to Kingston, New York, which was the old provincial capital of the new New York State during the Revolutionary War, one that was largely burned down by British soldiers who were sent up there by Henry Clinton, the loser of the Battle of Sullivan's Island, defeated by Moultrie and the victorious heroes of South Carolina who defended Charleston from Henry Clinton's attacks. Well, Henry Clinton, unfortunately, would later on get a form of revenge by burning down Kingston, and we're going to go look at some of that old town, and especially the buildings that didn't get burned down. We also might meet my mom while we're there. So, business with pleasure, guys. Why not? Thank you so much for joining. Ross, Gloria, everyone, so good to see ya. I didn't see anyone over on YouTube, which means that maybe YouTube didn't go live. If that was the case, I'm going to put this up on YouTube as well. And you guys are awesome, man. Dragon Lord X, thanks for the eagle. Home team, baby, home team. And Gloria, thank you for the beer. Tostin, no problem. It's still here, and you can never be too latte. I know you meant late, but like latte, I love that. It's nice. I'm a little latte. I'm too latte today. Actually, in fact, I only have one latte first thing in the morning, and it's an espresso. I don't drink coffee later on in the day. I'm already amped up as it is. Put a coffee in me this late in the day. Ain't gonna be any sleep. Ross, great to see you too, brother. And Jill, so good to hear from you. Thank you for all the support. Gloria, take care. Pleasure. Obrigadíssimo to Brazil. No, Tarstan. No reason to apologize. I was making a joke at your expense, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Whenever you arrive, you are like a wizard. You could not be late or early. Whenever you arrive, you are perfectly in time, quoteth the Hobbit. So, guys, it's been real. Always a pleasure. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy Bastille Day wherever you are. Celebrate freedom. Celebrate revolution and democracy, as long as you're overthrowing not democracies, but you're overthrowing tyrannies. We'll be in touch again tomorrow and see each other this weekend. Mwah. Ciao.